welcome back to my channel. I'm the Dread Canary, and today we're playing Against the Storm, a game which exemplifies the idea that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Now, Against the Storm is not out yet. I am playing a free demo that I downloaded from the Epic Store. As you can see, it is early access release on October 18th of 2021, so we are playing before it's in its final stage, which means anything I do could be changed by the time it is really released. There might be some balance changes, some of the buildings might work differently, or there might be different prerequisites. We know there's going to be 2 more biomes that I'm not currently allowed to play in, so the final game might be a little bit different than what we're seeing here today, but assuming they don't completely overhaul the core mechanics, I still think it's going to be an excellent game. Now, I have already finished the tutorial, and this is the first real game. Now, we start out on a sort of overmap. Now, on the world of Against the Storm, there is the smoldering city, led by a queen, who keeps that city safe and dry and livable in a world that is beset by a magical storm that drains people's will to do anything. And that gets worse the longer they are out in it. However, the smoldering city needs supplies, and we, the player, are sent out into the area surrounding the city to gather resources and make settlements. So what happens here is I can choose any hex that I want to within range to put a settlement on and begin fulfilling some quests. And these little icons are what I'm going to earn. Now, there are 2 aspects in which you gain resources. There's the overworld and then the in-game. Now, what the overworld does, we have artifacts, food stockpiles, and machinery, and these are used to make our expeditions easier. So if I enter the Citadel, again, we can see how many I have. We can see I've got experience of 50 out of 100. I could not avoid that in the tutorial. I tried to start from as low level as I could without making you watch a cinematic, but it did make me get some experience. There are 2 possible trade routes with the Smoldering City, and we'll get into what that means when we're actually in gameplay. And I can click Buy Upgrades. Now, at level 1, I cannot unlock any upgrades even if I have the resources. If I hit level 2 and collect 10 of these food stockpiles, I will be able to possibly encounter the cookhouse and the mill in my games, and I'll be able to start with the rain collector every time I start a new expedition from then on. At level 3, we're going to have another series of upgrades. At level 4, we'll have a 3rd tier of upgrades. And these get pretty big, and they let you take on maps that are rated as impossible difficulty, whereas at the beginning, we're going to have to start on normal. So I'm going to X out of this. I'm going to X out of this, and we're going to pick our first settlement. So if we look over on the left, you can see the type of terrain it is the Royal Woodlands. The indicators there, the thing of normal, is showing that I'm going to need 12 points to complete the objectives of that settlement, and I've got up until the Queen gets impatience of 12. We'll explain impatience more in a moment, before I would be kicked out. Let's click on this to make it a little more obvious what's going on. So difficulty is normal. There's going to be an average amount of fertile soil. If I did this map, I would get 5 food stockpiles, 3 machinery, these blue gears, 180 experience, which again I need to be able to unlock higher levels of upgrades, and this is going to be a woodland town because it's in the Royal Woodlands, one of the 3 biomes that will be in the game, though for the early release demo, we can only play in the Royal Woodlands. Now we have modifiers. Every map is going to have these. So it's got a lot of roots, a lot of vegetables, a lot of mushrooms, a lot of berries, a small amount of bugs, and a small amount of meat. And that's going to matter more, as you'll see when we get to the gameplay. It's got a lot of wood. It's the woodlands. That makes sense. It has a pretty solid amount of plant fiber, which is good for making clothes and rope, a good amount of tree resin, some clay, some leather. And because we're in the woodlands, harvesting speed is faster. And at this specific location, it takes longer to cut down trees, and that's going to be huge, as you'll see. And then we have weather effects. So here, during one of the seasons, we'll explain that more in a minute, there is a chance to double yield each production cycle as long as my villagers have enough food. Useful, that. Okay, and then if we're in the storm, another one of the 3 seasons, then there's -5 to global resolve. That seems to be universal. I don't know if that's going to be the case in the other 2 biomes, but I expect it will. And a downpour, which means that units that do not have sufficient clothing are going to move slowly during basically 1/3 of the year. Now, this is a normal difficulty map. It's got a lot of food reserves and some machinery, which is kind of hard to get and very important to get in the early game. So we're going to go ahead and use this location. I have to name my settlement, and the naming really doesn't matter that much, but we're just going to call this Example Town. And we are going to choose from this little box some bonuses that we're going to take with us. And as you go up in level, and as you get better upgrades, and as you've done various quests, you unlock more things that can go in this box of other benefits. So you can get extra people, you can get free recipes to make stone roads, which are better than the usual roads that you get. Now in this case, I'm going to always take anything that I cannot produce for myself. And that's going to be tools. Tools are eventually something you can make for yourself once you're at like level 4 and you've got a specific collection of buildings, but I don't get those, so I'm just taking some tools. This is food. I'm not too worried about getting food. It's usually fairly easy to get food in this game. I'm going to take some extra wood just because it makes it easier to build stuff, and let's embark. Alright, so this is our starting glade. So how this works is you build in these flat areas, and then there's a massive overgrown forest on all sides. And there are little pockets in the forest of already cleared land. And these pockets can have benefits. They can have natural resources, usually food, sometimes a few other things. And some of them are dangerous. Now, this game does not include any combat. It might in the future, but as of now, it does not include any combat. The danger is going to be things like poison or debuffs that make it harder for you to collect resources. You have 3 species that you work with, and as the game continues, you get more, and you have some control over how much of each species you get. So we have humans. Humans are fantastic at food gathering in general. And if we click this little slider that I did, it gives us a description of what's currently affecting them. So for example, if they have jerky, which is a food you can produce, biscuits, or pie, they're happier than if they don't have those things. If we have human-specific housing, then their resolve goes up. They like having clothing, makes sense. They like having fun. Now, fun in this case means you've brewed ale and you're serving it to them at a tavern. Those are high-level buildings that you don't always get access to, and they help a lot with people's excitement, but they don't help with productivity. And then they've got religion, which, as far as I've gotten in the demo, has not seemed to be a thing I could do easily, or if at all. I expect that once the full game comes out, there's indications in the game that there's going to be a building called a temple, which I think will serve the religion very well. As of now, you can only do it in a market, and getting a market is next to impossible. And then down here you have negatives. And again, I assume that when the game is fully released, with all of its biomes intact, there's going to be a lot more negatives for us to deal with. So far, the ones I've seen involve the storm, which comes every year, and some other modifiers that you get temporarily from finding dead villagers out in the woods. People don't like finding out that other people have been to these woods and died. Makes sense. Beavers have a similar lineup, except instead of liking, say, jerky, biscuits, and pie, they like stew, biscuits, and pickled goods. Beaver housing, there's specific beaver housing. They like clothing, obviously. Now, in their case, where the humans like fun, beavers like education. And luxury. Luxury is wine, again served in a tavern. Then you got lizards. They like jerky, like the humans. They like stew, like the beavers. And they like skewers, which is a specific for lizards. You know, kebabs. Everyone likes kebabs. Lizard-specific housing, clothing, obviously. Fun, so like humans, they like ale. And they're specific that they really like, where we have religion, we have luxury, we have brotherhood. Now, brotherhood in this case means tea. Lizards are cold-blooded. They like feeling warm. They like feeling warm from the inside, hence tea. And each of these people like working in different types of environments. Humans like working in factories. I know, but apparently they do. The beavers like working in what are called rain punk buildings, and we'll show you what those look like. And lizards, because they're cold-blooded, like working anywhere that has a fire. Which is why, when the game starts and you have a central fire, we already have one lizard working here. And this little blue aura indicates that he is very happy. So if they're working in their preferred type of building, they get bonus resolve. This little green bar is their resolve, and if it gets too low, workers will start abandoning you. And if workers start abandoning you, the queen's going to get mad. So that's everything about our workers. Oh, I should mention, this is our total population of workers of each race. And this number right here is how many we have unassigned who aren't currently doing anything. And across the top, we have a number of indicators. So this is our food, and if we click on it, I can see what types of food we have. This is our building supplies. And this is our fuel, which goes on the fire. And over here, we can see the various effects, just like I showed before we started this map. This little button in the top right is trade routes. I don't have anything I can trade, but I can just click on the smoldering city. I can see that she is offering spices from the citadel and stone, as long as I offer the things I can see, or maybe some new things that I'll discover as the game goes on. Down here we have a list again of all the buffs affecting us. So right now we have the map debuff, I should say, of cutting down trees taking longer. We have the map buff of harvesting speed being up, and we have a fire kept by a lizard, which is helping everyone be a little more resolute. So let's go ahead and escape out of the hearth. And then down here is where we control a lot. On our left, we have the quests that we have to complete. We have to fill up this bar to make completely solid blue for us to win the map. And every time we pass one of these little dots, I'm going to get a free blueprint, basically knowledge about how to make a building I did not know how to make before. And as time goes on, the queen is going to get impatient with us. So queen's impatience is 0.25 per minute. We can fill up to 12, and if we get all the way to 12, she's going to kick us out. She's going to say, you know what, you didn't do a good enough job. You lose. Just stop. Just stop. So that would mean we have a timer right now of 48 minutes. But whenever we fill a quest, that impatience is going to go down, so it gives us more time. And anytime a villager abandons us, the queen gets a little more impatient with what we're doing. She loses patience. So we're going to start by clicking on this little option. So it gives me two choices of blueprints that I can start with. I can either take the granary, which helps me pick up things that I'm mostly going to ship back to the queen if she wants them, or the outfitter, which does the same thing, except whereas this can make me packs of crops, packs of provisions, and allow me to make stew, which you'll remember humans and lizards like. Was it humans and lizards? I think so. And then the outfitter gives us the option of making coats, clothing, which everybody needs. And the stars next to each description are how efficient they are. So when I said that this game requires you to subscribe to the belief that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly, sometimes you have to make something at all, and you have to make it inefficiently just to meet the needs of your citizens, and the wastage is annoying, but if you hold out for something more efficient, you might have lost all of your villagers in the meantime and been kicked off the map before you ever get there. So, trade-offs. Now in this case, packs of crops, packs of provisions are very common quest items. It's great to have these if you do get those quests, but coats are literally always good. Pack of trade goods, pack of valuables are pretty rare to need, but the coats are good, which makes this a hard choice. Now I'm just starting off, and this is a normal map, and we're right out of the tutorial, so I'm not terribly worried about people being naked. I'm just going to go ahead and take the granary. Alright, now as I said, there's specific housing, and I have to pick here between having housing that's going to be great for beavers, and it shows you what it requires. It requires 4 planks and 2 ropes, or housing that's great for lizards, which requires 4 ropes and 3 bricks. Now the other thing is lizards housing can house up to 2 lizards. Beaver housing can house up to 3 beavers, and beavers, as you'll see, are highly important. So I'm going to take the beaver house. And then my third option that I start with is the Foragers Camp, which lets you get mushrooms and eggs and reeds. Now, reeds aren't spawning in the Royal Woodlands, and eggs are spawning very rarely, so it's mostly just mushrooms, versus the Trappers Camp, which can possibly give us meat, insects, and eggs. Again, eggs don't spawn very often. Now, where my starting area is, we have berries, which can only be picked at an herbalist camp, roots, which can only be picked at a stonecutters camp, and flax, which can only be picked at a scavenger camp. So there's no particular benefit for one over the other right now. I'm just going to leave this choice for later, and we'll start telling our villagers to do something. So as it stands, all of our supplies are kept in main storage. This fire has to stay up. If you lose this fire, you are going to lose your villagers, and you are going to lose the game. So you always have to have enough fuel, and you always have to have somebody, this lizard here, working it. Alright, so this row is all of our building controls. And this is just about it about controls before I can move on. We're almost to the real gameplay, and then stuff starts happening. So camps are temporary structures that you can pick up and move. They're for harvesting resources around the map. So we are going to go ahead and build a lumber camp here. We're going to build a stonecutters camp over here. WASD is how I move up, down, left, and right. And then Q and E rotate the map. So when I'm spinning around, I'm just hitting Q. Okay, so we were building our scavenger camp. Now these I didn't have to pick. They're always available. They're what's called essential buildings, so you just get them at the start of every game. They're super important. You have to have them. So it gives them to you. I'm going to unpause time, let people start running around. Anyone who's not assigned to a specific building will just start constructing things. And since you have some starting resources, they're going to do that now. Villagers move slightly faster on paths, so it's generally a good idea if you have places where villagers are going to have to go a lot to build paths near it. And since everybody has to go to main storage, I always just start with this kind of road. And since I really like the way it looks, I do that. So for food, I can build a granary once I have planks and rope. Right now, my only building supplies are basic wood. I don't have any planks. And parts, which are used to make camps. So, I cannot make the granary yet. Housing, shelter just requires basic wood. Shelter is not specific. It just slaps a roof over people's heads so they stop complaining, but it doesn't make them specifically happy. It does only take simple wood, which is very easy to get, so it's a good starter. And then, as we said earlier, beavers are going to need planks and rope. Industry, we're going to want a crude workstation, because a crude workstation lets us turn wood into planks, plant fiber into rope, and clay into bricks. And you'll notice we're going from 7 wood to 2 planks. We're going from 6 plant fiber to 2 ropes. We're going from 7 clay to 2 bricks. That is awful. It's so inefficient, but you have to do it early, because if you don't do it, you can never upgrade to the better buildings. Makeshift post is how we can make packs of provisions, pack of building materials, and pack of crops. But remember how I said earlier how some things are more efficient? Well, you'll see granary has pack of crops with 3 stars and pack of provisions with 2 stars. So it's going to take less resources to make those than if I make them in the makeshift post, which has a little clock icon. So what that means is this building is not designed very well for doing that. So in the granary, a pack of crops makes equal numbers of packs to the number of crops that you use. In the makeshift post, it's 7 to 1. It's so bad. And this is one of the few times where I almost never do something poorly, unless I absolutely have to, or it's planks, which are relatively easy to get. And then we can build storage out in the wilds. Like, we've got our main storage, so I don't need one now. But if I've got things very far away across the map, having storage means they don't have to walk all the way back before completing their job. And makeshift hearths, which are little versions of this fire that people can go to and rest whenever they need a rest without walking all the way back to my central area. And then the trading post, which lets me make trades every year with a wandering traveler who brings supplies. It's very important for getting things that you cannot make yourself, but I don't have anything worth trading, so there's no reason to build it right now. This envelope means that I'm getting a message from the Queen. And as the game goes, she's going to give me quests. Now, each of these quests gives me 1 full point out of the 12 that we need. So hypothetically, I could win just by fulfilling all 12 quests. I'm going to track all of them and let the game run. So as you can see, my workers have built this, and that icon means nobody's working there. So let's assign some beavers. This rotating gear indicates that this species is very proficient and has a chance of producing twice as much materials as another species could. So it's a benefit to put species places where they're really competent. Really competent or really happy or both. Over here, I'm going to put some humans. Notice they don't have the spinning gear. And I'm going to put some lizards over here. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but as I was assigning workers, this slot gives me an option to choose which of the 3 species I want to throw there. This slot only allows for lizards. Alright, and every year we get a cornerstone ability. That's going to affect the way our encampment, I guess, because it's not really a city, develops. So, cannibalism. When people leave, I get meat. Kinda dark. I'm not going to go for that one, because if people are leaving me, then the Queen's getting impatient. It's not generally a good sign. Insect traps means that every time I produce mushrooms, I get insects, and lizards like eating insects, so that's a way of making mushrooms more efficient. And moldy grain seeds gain 5 mushrooms for each 10 grain produced, so it's the same thing as with insect traps, except I get more mushrooms if I produce grain, and that usually happens at a farm, and it's a lot easier to do that than anything else. Now, I don't know how to make a farm yet. I'm banking on the fact that I'm going to make a farm. So the Queen wants me to have 2 lumber camps. I currently have 1. And send 20 wood to her. I've got 23, so that's fine. Wants me to build 3 basic shelters and send her 15 wood. Can do that too. And then packs of provisions, which I cannot really do yet, but that's okay. We'll get there. I'm not too worried about getting this crude workstation going yet. Let's speed things up just a little. Now, I can select certain trees to be harvested first, and they are sort of gray if you cannot harvest them yet. If you can harvest them, they turn yellow. So this lumber camp can harvest anything in this radius, and I'm telling it to focus here specifically. Meanwhile, we have our lizards over here gathering roots. Roots are a type of food. Right here. And we've got some insects that they found somewhere, probably amidst the scavenger camp, amidst the flax. Alright, so this symbol means that a glade opened up. And we can see what we found. So in here we have these slick shell brood mothers. Basically, this is meat that we can go out and harvest if we have the right camp for it. And we have more roots, which we can get with our stonecutters camp. So, this is where this comes into play. So the trappers camp lets us collect meat from the wild. The foragers camp lets us get mushrooms. So now I know trappers camp is going to be better. And it's better to just take something that's going to be good early. Just take it if you can use it right now. Because who knows what you're going to get in the future. So we're going to go ahead and build a trappers camp. Now, I have all of my workers assigned. I don't have any free workers, so nobody can build right now. That's alright. We'll get more people soon. Beavers are beavering away. So what they do is they take their wood first to the lumber camp, and then when the lumber camp is full, any assigned beavers will then run the supplies from the lumber camp to main storage. So they do build up a little bit here and then make more efficient trips, which helps. But on very distant camps, you still want to get storage closer because it's just a lot more efficient. You don't want your people running halfway across the map constantly. Your productivity will slow to a crawl. Alright, so as you can see, the queen is already losing patience with us, so we're past the first mark. We're like, what is that, a third of the way to the second one? And if it gets all the way to 12, we lose. I've not completed any of her quests, so she's kind of annoyed with me. Alright, we moved out of the first season of drizzle into the second season of clearance. Now, clearance is generally the happiest part of the year. People are most productive. The rain is at its weakest point. It never stops raining. It never stops raining. Oh, the Stonecutters camp has no roots nearby anymore. They ate those all up. So we're going to move the camp, because camps can move. And we're just going to send it over here. And now when I click on it, it does show anything they can pick up. Ah, a little owl bear symbol tells me that I can get more people. So I can either get one dwarf and one human, or I can get two humans. I'm going to take the dwarf and the human because in the crude workstation, this counts as rain punk. Oh. So we've got a happy beaver working in here. And now he can turn planks into, he can turn wood into planks, he can turn plant fiber into rope, and he can turn clay into bricks. We do have 10 clay. I think we started with that. We have 80 wood. We're getting that from our lumber camp. And we do not... Oh, we have 37 plant fiber. So we can make rope, and that's going to be useful because we want to make some other buildings. Let's go ahead and throw up our crude workstation, which we might need for building materials at some point. Because remember, we're going to use the granary for the other two. And I have 10 people. Basic shelters are basic shelters for up to 4. So if I set up 3 of these, that'll be enough. Now again, I only have one human who's free to work on building stuff. That's not enough. That's not enough at all. So I'm going to go ahead and take these 2 ladies off, and then they will become builders. So they can start working on that while we look at our new quests. Okay. So we previously wanted a second lumber camp, and then we just turn in some wood. We need 3 shelters, which I'm now building, and then we turn in some wood. Packs of provisions, which I'm not doing early. They're hard to do. Building materials, which is going to require planks. Pack of crops. And here, she wants us to get 10 beavers and keep their resolver up above 50 for half a minute. Fair enough. And then as rewards, we get people and parts, people and parts, people and parts, people, a scroll. Now this is a upgrade that you can take into future encampments where the lizards will just be permanently more resolute on that map. And then here again, we get more beaver people. And the same thing is with the lizards that you can take into future games, that the beavers are just going to be more resolute, again with parts. And this gives all the beavers on your current game bonus to resolve plus parts. And the reputation point's pretty universal, and the reputation is going to lower her impatience with us. So I'm tracking everything over here on the right. Missed one. And now notice that they are building in the order in which I told them to build. So we've got a Trapper's Camp first, which is going to let us harvest meat. Trapper's Camp can be done by one of anybody and one lizard. So very similar to the Stonecutters Camp. Next, because there's supplies for it, they're making the makeshift post, just like I told them to. Now I'm going to uncheck what I don't want to be made here. You can type limits on how many to make. So like, we need 10 building materials. I can just type that right in, so it'll never have more than 10 building materials. First shelter is up. Nobody's working this camp. The soundtrack is just a gorgeous instrumental bit, and you'll hear as the seasons change what that does to the music. So like Clearance is this calm, soothing, kind of nice sounding. And then as soon as the storm hits, it changes. So workers can work through the storm, but they're going to be slower, and they're going to be unhappy. Notice the resolve went down for everybody. It's year one. I'm not too worried about it. They're not going to get so mad as to leave me. So we've got our 3 shelters, which is enough for 12 people. And we have 10 people, so we have plenty of housing. Let's go ahead and put our humans back. Scavenger camp. We've got a spare human, so let's go ahead and just have them make some path. Basic paths are free, so you might as well. Plus, I like having a free person so that if I want to respond to something, I can. Now, it's telling me that my order is already complete. What it's telling me is I can turn in this. So let's go ahead and do that. And when it did that, the reputation went up by 1, and the queen's impatience went down by 1. It also gave me 2 lizards, so they can start collecting that meat. And we get another option. So the brickyard is a very efficient way of making bricks out of clay, so we don't have to use the crude workshop. It also has the option of making pottery, which is important for making ale later, and crystallized dew, which is part of the chain needed to make your own tools, but this early in the game, just out of the tutorial, they're not going to give me the buildings needed to do that. So brickyard's pretty good. Kiln gives us the ability to make coal. Now what coal is we take sticks and we make them into a much more efficient fuel source, which we can burn to make everyone happier for a short period. Very good for long-term resolve. It's a great building once you've got a huge pile of sticks. You can make bricks more efficiently than the crude workstation, but less efficiency than the brickyard. And jerky, which again, you'll remember some of the people like eating. I'm going to take the brickyard. And it's a 3x3. I don't really have a lot of space right now. Oh, there we go. I can stick it there. But I really want it closer to storage so that people can drop it off. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hold off on the brickyard. I'm going to turn off brick making. Because why waste the bricks if I know I'm going to be able to make them more efficiently? We're going to move this lumber camp. Rotate it. We're going to tell these guys, hey, can you focus on those trees? Because what we want to do is we want to clear out this as soon as possible. See what's in there. Because there's usually goodies. Alright, so what did we find? We have more roots, so stonecutter, and we have an abandoned cache. Now you need tools for this, or infused tools, which we don't have access to yet. I have 20 tools, so I can definitely send people. And then I can choose between getting 20 firewood, again a fuel source, 20 grain, and 15 coats, or I can get 10 amber, which is a kind of money, and half a reputation point. Now again, you win at 12 reputation points. This is good. This is also good. I'm going to go ahead and send these to the Citadel. I'm going to assign a human. We'll tell them to investigate. If I don't tell them to investigate, they don't go. But also, it's a new season, so I get more people. Let's grab 2 more. Let's send them as well. Let's make this go faster. And another cornerstone ability. Alright, so Rebellious Spirit would give me more resolve. Everyone's morale would go up the more impatient the queen was. And that's really useful if it's taking you a long time to fulfill her desires. Forge Trip Hammer lets you make parts in the crude workshop. Generally, you don't have a good way of making parts, but it gives the workshop worker minus 10 resolve, so they are really unhappy about it. Infused Rainfall gives you more food once you have farms, but again, it lowers everyone's resolve. So I'm going to take Rebellious Spirit, because it's got no downside. It just might not be as big as the other ones, at least to start. But it raises people's mood a little bit, and that helps. Okay, so now that I've broken through, I'm just going to clear this out. It's probably inefficient, like I could just move on, but I like having a nice big area because that's where I'm going to start putting shelters, because shelters are not workstations. People don't have to return to the storage or to the hearth from a shelter ever. As far as I can tell, people don't go home. You just have to have homes for them to go to if they wanted to, which they won't. Alright, so our cache is cleared. I got my 3 workers back. We don't have anything worth building at the moment. The Stonecutters camp is clear again, so let's put it by these roots. And let's build a second lumber camp, because the queen wants me to do that anyway. Alright, I got 0 planks. But we were making some. We got some rope on the way. Excellent. Alright, now I'm not going to be as efficient. That's alright. Again, anything worth doing poorly. Move the scavenger camp up here, just get it out of the way. Alright, we got 14 people and we only have 12 housing. So, we should probably get some people on housing too before the storm hits. And it always goes drizzle, storm, drizzle, clearance, storm, and then you go to the next year. And every year, people's resolve goes down. So right now we're on year 2, and we're taking a -2 globally to resolve just because they've been out in the storm for 2 years, and they don't like it. So this game has 2 timers. We got the Queen's Impatience, and we have the resolve, because this resolve will keep going and growing and growing until no matter what you do, you won't be able to overcome their unhappiness. Get them completely drunk, blissed out on alcohol, tea, and education. Yeah, I know, beavers are weird. And it won't be enough. And in the hearth, you can burn extra supplies to increase their resolve. But eventually, even that's not going to be enough. Alright, I can deliver lumber camps. And, alright, the queen wants fuel, which I'm not going to be able to do. I've played this a few times, and fuel requires a specific building that I don't have the capability of even rolling for, so no. Clothing the people, if we can get 30 clothes, alright. And then she wants us to discover the contents of 5 glades. Easy enough. We get another blueprint, because I turned in one. So Clothier makes more efficient rope and coats. And the smokehouse makes jerky really efficiently and also skewers. So it's really great to keep your lizards happy, but frankly, the clothier is going to be more efficient right now. And the only thing I want made in here is planks, because we've got the brickyard on the way to make bricks, and we've got the clothier on the way to make rope. But I did just get 2 more beavers, so we're going to kick out this lady, we're going to replace her with a beaver, we're going to kick out this lady, replace her with the beaver, so that we can be more efficient. Put that over there, because now I have enough space to put a brickyard there. Another stonecutter. Great. Foragers Camp's doing great. Okay, so we need 6 provisions, 10 crops. Let's go ahead and 6 and 10. No, this is the makeshift post. What am I doing? I don't want you making that at all. I want this in the granary. 6. Alright, so once we start doing that, I don't have to worry about I'm going too far overproduction. It'll still be a little overproduction. You'll see why. But it's not going to be as egregious as if I just let them go with no supervision. Alright, so we've cleared out a decent amount of space around our central area. We're going to go ahead and move this camp over here. And we're going to start focusing on getting into this glade. Meanwhile, this lumber camp is pretty far from anything. We're going to move it over here. And we're going to have it focus on getting into this glade. You know what? Let's go ahead and take that part away. I currently have 2 unassigned humans who can build things. So, if we go to industry, let's get a clothier. R rotates buildings to change the way they face. Now, for some reason, right now, facing doesn't seem to matter. I always have things face roads because I assume once the game gets fully released that it is going to matter, but right now it doesn't. Okay, and this is really bad. So the petrified tree slows how fast you can get wood. And it requires 10 spark dew to change that. But I don't have any way of producing spark dew. It's a building that you only get access at level 2. So I literally cannot solve that. I just have to live with the penalty indefinitely. This is not good. Ooh, this is clay deposits. So let me put those lizards back into the stone cutter and move them over here. Also, mushrooms just showed up. So if I had a Foragers Camp, I would be able to harvest those mushrooms. But I don't, so I can't. Alright, we got this built, we have that built, and once you've got space a little ways away, that's when I like to start really building housing. So we're going to go down here, and we're going to build some housing. Now there, oh, nope, that's not what I wanted. Now you don't have to arrange housing in any particular way. I just like the look of putting these in squares. And then I always run paths to them. Not that it matters, I'm literally doing this for aesthetics. But we're building housing, and anytime you want to delete a building, you get all the resources back from that building. So you'll notice I'm building 6 shelters, which is enough for 24, despite only having 16 people and already having enough for 12 of them. I'm going to delete these 3 houses, just so I can have more space near my central area, with short trips to the storage. Got access to more people. Scavenger camp is empty, so there's no reason to have people in it. Sharper's camp has nothing, so there's no reason to have people in it. We just broke through on this side. Okay, so we have wild vegetables. Let's bring back that scavenger camp. Get us some food. We have another clay deposit, so once this is empty, I can bring the stone cutters over here to start picking up some clay. We found a small encampment. Now here I can choose between getting additional population or getting more reputation. And I'm just going to go ahead and get reputation here. So this little frame means that I can click on it and choose something else. So right now it wants to use wild vegetables. I'm going to use roots because I have a ton of roots. And it wants to use eggs, which is fine. Go ahead and assign ladies. Let's send these people on to the Citadel because I want to win. Now this is farmland. Remember, I don't know how to make farms, but if I did, once I cleared this off, I could make a farm and start farming food and not have to wait to locate it. Because I want more efficient clay, I'm going to start doing this. I don't know if I'll need pottery at some point, but we might as well start making some bricks. Notice 7 to 2, 2 to 2. The least efficient possible, the most efficient possible. This makes coats at a ratio of just a small number of supplies, and it makes road at 4 to 2 compared to 6 to 2. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a human in here. So humans are happy working in the clothier. Nobody's happy working in the brickyard. I've tested. And we have more. So she wants us to feed our people pie and biscuits, explore 8 glades, and fulfill luxury 40 times. Which means wine. So I guess we need to get a brewery or a cellar and build a tavern, which we don't know how to do yet. I can put a second beaver in here, so I can have some really happy beavers. I got a spare human. Let's throw her in here. Sure. We got 2 humans and a lizard unaccounted for, so they can be our backup builders. And backup builders should be making roads. I don't need to clear out this area anymore. So let's go ahead and bring the lumber camp over here. And let's see what we can get. Smokehouse. Okay, so the smokehouse makes jerky, which is going to make the lizards happy. Skewers, which makes the lizards happy. And incense, which is how you get religion, but I can't do that in the tutorial, so that's okay. Kiln makes coal, which is really great for burning. Bricks, which I don't need because I got a brickyard, and jerky. So in this case, it looks like the smokehouse is the better option, just because I can do everything else with the other one already. Go ahead and throw that there. So this is going to require 4 bricks and 6 planks, neither of which I have, but these guys are making planks. This guy is making bricks. Let's give him a friend. And now I got 2 humans who aren't doing anything but making roads. You might be like, Dread Canary, why aren't you doing your packs of provisions? Again, they're hard, okay? Packs of provisions require me to have certain types of food, which I guess I do have quite a bit of. So, thank you for pointing that out. Let's go ahead and throw a human here. And let's make packs of provisions out of my excess meat. Packs of crops out of, I hate doing it out of things that we actually eat, but we'll do broccoli just to get it going. Hey, we got more people. Let's put 2 more people in here. Make that go fast. Alright, so the rain essence, if I had a dew collector, which I don't, I'd get free tea. And then if I got a guild hall, I could make the lizards very happy because they'd have a place to drink their tea. Mold supply means that whenever I get mushrooms, I get more mushrooms. Nice, but I don't have forager camps, and I don't have farms, so I have no way of getting mushrooms right now. So we're going to go ahead and do the thrill of exploration, which just gives my people more happiness whenever we open a glade. We've got this lumber camp heading toward that glade anyway. Let's rush this. And this lumber camp heading toward this glade. Let's rush that too. Alright, so we know what all of our quests are going to be. Let's go ahead and speed things up a bit. Alright, so we're going to get another path. You know what? I'm going to move this slightly because in the event that I end up playing for a while, I'm going to probably keep expanding this way. So I might as well just throw this path down. And I'm going to put a path up this way toward that dangerous glade. And maybe throw a path over here. Okay. Stonecutter's camp has no deposits nearby. We have 35 out of 30 clothing. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn that in. And we have our pack of crops. So what happens is, because it fills up here and then delivers, it's going to keep building until it has 10 in storage, which is how we ended up with extra. So I'm going to kick her out so she stops making that. We're going to turn this off, because I only need packs of provisions now, and maybe some stew, which will make people happy. And I can turn in this. Okay. Ranch would let me take crops and turn them into meat and fur, or leather, which is going to let us make clothing. So the ranch would be really useful if I had farms. And the kiln, well, the kiln lets us make coal. It makes us inefficiently make bricks and inefficiently make jerky. So of these two, the ranch is better, even though I can't really use it. At least not yet. Because the kiln, right, I can make jerky here, and I can make bricks here. So the only thing I'm missing out on is coal, which makes it not that great. Now you'll notice we also have 12 out of 10 beavers, and the beavers hit enough resolve for 30 seconds, so we can pick that up too. Oh, we can hit that in 30 seconds. I'm being a little premature. Just a little. We've got excess beavers. So when you've got excess beavers, you gotta build a lumber camp. Just gotta. And you know what? Let's build another one of these too. Now you never want to open a dangerous glade during a storm. People are already unhappy. Dangerous glades make people unhappy. Just don't do it during a storm. It will kill your game. Alright, so now I've got a second beaver camp over here. And they overlap, so they'll both be able to power through that. Turn off rope, which we make at the clothier now. Turn off bricks, which we make at the brickyard now. And let's just throw another beaver in here to make planks. So I have one spare human and one spare lizard right now. Closer. Beavers are done. And we have all the packs of provisions we might need. So I no longer need you to do that. They can still make stew. Let's see, we'll make stew out of meat, eggs, broccoli. So I'll have one person making stew, but I don't need the other two. Alright, pick a new blueprint. Lizard or human housing. Okay, so I've got 6 lizards, I got 11 humans. Human housing seems like the better pick. And we already had beaver housing. So let's go ahead and make a nice neighborhood for beavers. Beaver house has space for 3 beavers. I have 12, so that's going to be housing for 9 beavers out of my 12. Alright, we opened a glade, and we have fallen beaver woodcutters. It's going to take 5 planks, which I have. Let's go ahead and send some humans over here for cleanup. I could get 20 roots and 20 coal, which I could then burn, or I could just get victory points. So let's go ahead and get the victory points. Hey, we got more stone. Or I should say clay. Stone is a separate thing. scavenger camp is empty. Looking for anything yellow? Nope, there's nothing I can do with the scavenger camp, so I'm going to put it over here, just out of the way. I'll kick out one of you. Kick out both of you, it's fine. Alright. So, we have an Unsealed Vault, which takes 12 planks. I do have it. If I don't do this within 5 minutes, I'm going to have 3 villagers just die, and everyone is moving more slowly so long as this is here. So I've got to get rid of that. And it'll give us these ancient tablets. Now, ancient tablets are generally a quest item, but the queen has not told me to get her any, so at this point I'm just doing this to turn off the disabling effect. And we got flags, which means, hey, we can do that. And we have a cellar. Now the cellar lets us make wine, and wine is what we need for luxury. So we specifically need to make wine, and we need pottery for it. So we're going to turn on the ability to make pottery. In fact, we have 62 bricks. I'm going to turn off the ability to make bricks and have them just focus on making pottery for a while. Meanwhile, I don't remember who's happy in the cellar, if anybody, so let's check. Oh, humans. Okay, well, that's easy. And we don't have berries, so I guess we'll make mushrooms? And we don't really want these other things. Now, since I don't have this stuff, I'm just throwing one person in there so that when I get the stuff, it'll start going. Meanwhile, put this right up in here. Have them start focusing on getting this glade so it can fulfill this. We've got more people coming in. Okay. Start building those building materials. We are going to move these guys over here and tell them to clear out that specifically. Because what I want to do is I want another just 4 block of beaver housing here. 6 times 4 is 24. It's only housing lizards and humans now, so there's plenty of shelter. We do want to upgrade to more specific housing, but I don't want to be doing that during the storm. And at this rate, it's going to take me a little bit. I don't know about how you guys play these games, but I also always overbuild housing. The idea being that way I don't have to worry about it, and I never have a crisis or a sudden loss of resolve from my villagers. Beaver house. Right there. And of course, I like having neighborhoods with roads. And you know, I've got so many free workers. Let's just build some more roads too. Let's do this. So I don't need this anymore. I didn't have to delete it. It would stop me from building stuff on that location, but I just cleaned it up because I don't like the way it looks. This over here. We're working on an active quest here. We're working on an active quest here. Pies and biscuits require a bakery, or they require us to find some stuff. We need to open 6 glades, so I guess that counts here as well. And then this person is working on luxury. But what we need is farms. And you know, I'm being dumb because I forgot to build a trading post. Because sometimes the trader has blueprints, so I can just buy the ability to build things that I couldn't otherwise buy or build. Oops. Let's go back to building bricks, because I used all of my planks making beaver housing, and we can do packs of building materials using bricks as well. So once they finish these packs that used wood, we'll make some brick ones. Actually, no we won't. Because we already have 8. And, it's just forced delivery. And now we have 12. Okay. So I don't have anything else that's going to require anything from this building. I'm just going to reclaim my resources. And let's go ahead and turn this in. Gives me another blueprint. Foragers Camp, which would get me mushrooms, and the Outfitters Camp, which would let me make things that I don't need. Because I've already got coats better at the clothier. None of my quests require packs of trade goods or packs of valuables. There's no reason to use those. So let's take this, and we can build that Foragers Camp right here. And remember, we're making mushroom wine. So we need mushrooms for mushroom wine. I am totally out of food, and that's not great. So that's going to lower everyone's resolve, because they can't eat anything. I don't really have any sources of food because I never got the ability to make farms. And we've picked all the plants that we can easily get to. Not great. But the good thing is, hunger does not kill people. Low resolve makes them quit. So, all I have to do is throw some stuff on the fire and offset the resolve. I'm not kidding. They can just, you know, be happy that way. Let's put some humans over here foraging. Let's get a lot of humans foraging. Can I make... I don't have any raw ingredients. I really need a farm. Like, to the point where I'm going to grab this lumber mill. Lumber camp, rather. Lumber mills are also a thing in this game. And we're gonna double up. We're gonna have everybody focus on opening up this glade, then this glade, and this glade, because we need another blueprint, and we need it now. Actually, I have extra workers. Human housing. Humans take planks and bricks. Okay, we got that. Let's build a nice little... human neighborhood. 12 seems like enough. Because each house is for 2 people. So 6 houses will be enough for that. Resolve's going down. I don't have anything I can burn. Yeah, lizards are going to start abandoning me. Well, that's not great. Oh, but we got glades. Okay. And this gives us +3 to global resolve. That's going to help a ton. And it's got a camp up here, which requires food, so I can't actually do anything about it. But there is mushrooms. Make it through the storm, make it through the storm. Don't everyone abandon me. I'm losing. I lost 1 lizard worker. All right. Blades. Lizard craftsman left. Lizard worker left. Don't have many lizards. This is not good. Okay, but we made it through winter. Or to the storm, I should say. You know, Oh, that's rough. Do that. 4 barrels for every 10 plank production. So free barrels out of planks is really useful for making ale or wine. But multiplies more mushrooms, and I really need food, and I need mushrooms for wine. So yeah, we're doing that. In fact, we're going to build a second Foragers Camp up here. Lizards are leaving. We're out of spare lizards. I just need like 2.5 points to get the rest of the way. We have some food. You know what? I don't have any way to distribute this wine, so as soon as she finishes making this amount of wine, I'm gonna get her out. We're just gonna kick her out because we're gonna have to replace all of our lizards who are leaving in droves. Okay, so we have 1 firekeeper and 1 stonecutter. Stonecutter. Great. So 1 lizard is tending this fire, and 1 lizard is cutting stone over here. And that's it. That's everything we got. But their resolve is going up a lot, partially because there's now food, and partially... Oh, well, now humans are leaving. Oh, no. It's all falling apart. Okay, I've got 1 lizard left, and he's kind of happy tending the fire. That's what we got. Okay, well. He's very happy tending the fire. I think we can still salvage this. People are getting happy. Yep, because now we have food, right? And we have fire. And, all the crap people left. Okay, where can I get another glade? Go up here. Focus on getting those. Looking for another easily grabbed glade. Okay. Over here. Grab those. Okay. We're running out of fuel. Probably from all the pottery, so we're going to stop using sticks there. I don't think I'm using sticks anywhere else. We don't have anyone working that lumber mill. So we're opening up this glade, which will get us to 5, 6... That's a dangerous one, and I don't really have people. That's a dangerous one, dangerous one, dangerous one. Danger zone? Okay, so I think we have to go here and try for that glade. That glade's probably going to be easier to get from in that glade, so we're going to go ahead and bring this lumber camp here. Trees in the way. How ironic. Alright. Okay. Nothing special. We have some wood. Oh, we're still making planks like crazy and really inefficiently down here. Yeah, let's turn that off. And in fact, shove these beavers into a lumber mill. Hearth went down. What? Oh, I ran out of fuel momentarily. So the hearth went down and my resolve plummeted, but then they got sticks back, so they're okay. I got 4 lumber camps grabbing wood for us to burn. I've turned off just about every stick use I've had, so we should just have basic wood coming in like crazy. And I think it's gonna hold, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Okay, we found more mushrooms and a cache. Alright, excellent. I have tools, right? Okay, and we can get a half point. Let's go. I could also get jerky, which would increase people's resolve, but at this point, things have gone so poorly that I really want to try to rush us out of here. So I just pulled some beavers, I had them go work the cache, and then this cache is going to give us half a reputation point. Oh, hey. Tavern. Okay, we need the tavern. Yes. We need the tavern so that I can deliver the luxury that the queen wants me to deliver to my people. This needs planks, which we have, and bricks, which we have. Excellent. Okay. My beavers are free again. Let's put them back on. Move. Up there. Let's unlock that glade. Alright, we hit clearance, and now I have a trading post up, which means I can buy things. So we can get the bakery blueprint, which would help with the pie and biscuits quest, but I need flour to make pie and biscuits, which means I need a mill to make pie and biscuits, and I don't have a mill, so I can't do that. Or I could, but it'd be really inefficient. We can buy pottery outright, which is great for making wine, which I need to do. Can sell her my spare packs of provisions. I have 91 pottery. I really don't need that. So let's go ahead and actually, we needed pie and biscuits, didn't we? Well, here's pie. Now we just need biscuits. Let's grab some pickled goods. Let's grab some skewers. So that's going to give us a bunch of food. I didn't have any use for tree resin. But wait a minute. I need wine. What am I doing? Okay. And then let's sell her some of this. Nope, that's not enough. I could also just type a number. There we go, that seems to be enough. Okay. Except I forgot that I was doing this. Very important. A little more. Still a little more. More still. There we go. Okay. Go ahead and put a human over here. Go. Since I just bought a ton of food, I should be fine for a while. Plus Since we're breaking through a glade... Oh, we already broke through that glade. Well, that's no good. Let's go ahead and move this up this way. And we'll race for our final glade. Okay, so the other way that you get reputation is if your happiness for any of your people goes into the blue. So when I bought that pie, humans got very happy because now they've got their favorite thing to eat. So humans are currently giving me 0.18 per minute. Now I do need 2. So what is that? Like 11 minutes? Almost 12 minutes to win just from humans being happy if I can keep them up there. But that's not all we're doing. Oh. More people. Let's go ahead and grab a human, slap them there. And let's make this path go that way. I didn't build any storage. I probably should have at this point because this is making a pretty long trek, but also we're almost done. Because what's going to happen is we're going to open this glade and this glade, which gets us 1 more reputation point. And then, depending on how long it takes me to get this tavern going, we will either win on luxury or on human happiness. That's where we're at. Tavern's up. Oh, we can turn in glades. Alright. Which gives us pottery and jerky, and jerky's going to make our people happy too, won't it? We need someone to work the tavern. Humans love working taverns, so we're throwing them in there. Which raises this. As we're getting 0.19. Wine. We want berry wine now because we bought a ton of berries. We no longer need glades, so let's go ahead and move you down here. Because if this is going to continue, what I'd want to do is clear this out. Actually, why don't I just... That's silly. Just do this. There we go. Lizards are happy now because we got those skewers. And you know what? We're going to burn wood to raise people's resolve so I can get beavers up there. And now we're getting 0.63 per minute. So basically a minute and a half and we win. So despite never getting farms and not being able to get a sustainable food source, we were able to clutch that out. Even with all the people leaving, we were able to clutch it out and finish. We're running low on fuel. But we're running low on fuel just in time for the queen to tell me I won. Now, if I go to let me play, I can continue to play on this map. And in fact, I have once, because I felt like it, done so until I could literally harvest nothing else. It got ridiculous, but eventually this storm overwhelmed my people's happiness. Once you've won like this, the queen no longer is impatient with you. You can stay as long as you want as far as she's concerned, but eventually, around year 29, no matter how much fuel you burn, you are going to run out of trees and everyone's going to leave you. So that is the demo of Against the Storm. Now, shortly, I will be embarking on a video series in which I try to play Against the Storm straight through without ever losing a map until I have unlocked everything that you're allowed to unlock on the demo. I expect this to be very hard because I've tried a few practice runs, and as soon as I start trying to get some of the more advanced benefits, food supplies are easy, but as soon as I start going for machinery or the artifacts, I start falling apart. In the games where I have completed it, what happened was I lost those maps. I got partial credit, which gave me enough of a boost to be able to unlock new benefits. But if I can't get by on partial credit, it gets a lot harder. Anyway, I hope you'll join me for those. But real quick, to finish this one up, I'm going to go back to the world map. We're going to go to the Smoldering City. We're going to buy upgrades. Except I can't, because I'm not level 2 and I don't have 10 food even if I did. So we can't buy anything. And I've got one last thing to show you before I go. This meter is filling up to a oncoming Great Storm. And when the Great Storm hits, you have to go into the Citadel and ride out the Great Storm, and everything out here is cleared out. So I can get Example Town, I can build one more settlement, I can play it through, and then after that, I'm going to have to reset the map, and I won't have these pre-existing towns anymore to trade with, and I won't have the extended reach that these little towns give me, so I'll be stuck back with a small central area. And that's it. That is Against the Storm. Hope you enjoyed this, and as I said earlier, I hope you'll stick around. Sorry for the false